Hey, no problem.
You kids do every sport.
Hey, that brings me up to my first question for you guys. Most sincere thing I've probably ever said to you guys. I'm reading this book, Range, and they're talking about the difference between, and when I say read, I mean audio book. Look at me. And they're talking about, the book starts off in the intro talking about the difference between Tiger Woods and Roger Federer. Am I pronouncing his name right? Federer?
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah,
and they were saying that basically in 2006, Tiger Woods was the best golf player in the world and Roger Federer was the best tennis player in the world. And Roger Federer, his parents had him in everything. Like, they couldn't get him to focus on one sport. He just did everything. And his mom was even a tennis instructor. When she would try to teach him, he refused to do any of the, orthodox or classically trained strokes of the tennis racket. And then somewhere in his early 20s, I guess, he really locked down onto tennis, as opposed to Tiger Woods put a golf club in his... Tiger Woods' dad put a golf club in his hands at 10 months old, maybe even sooner.
Yep.
And this book's arguing the point of, like, we live in a society of specialists, but really that might not be the way to go. The way to go would be to doing more things makes a more creative, spontaneous, fluid athlete.
In my opinion on that, I think there's both sides of the spectrum, right? You hear about the all-time greats who, like you said, Tiger Woods started at a very young age, and you hear about the all-time greats who played every single sport. In my mind, for my children, what I would want is them to play everything so that they can be a well-rounded athlete. They get to pick and choose what they fall in love with, what they decide is the career path that they want to go down, if it is even a sport at all, whether it be a sport or something else. So, but yeah, I think that I don't think that you can simply say this is the best way, this is the best route, right? I think that it comes down to each individual kid, each individual person, and you can write a book about every which way of how to raise your kids or how to develop the best athlete, but there's going to be outliers every single time. There's always going to be different ways. So I don't know if you can say there's a right way or a wrong way. In my mind, I think that playing all sports is going to make a more well-rounded athlete because you're developing more muscle groups than just the same singular ones. But then when you come down to like thinking about one single sport and being like just a freak, there was times when I wrestled in college at a very low level. NAI, never made the starting lineup. I started wrestling in 8th grade. And there were kids that were on the mat that they had been wrestling since they were 5 years old. And no matter how good of an athlete I was, they had more mat experience than I did. And they could just figure out situations, and they had the knowledge of wrestling for 15 more years than I did. So, there's ups and downs, or there's goods and negatives, I guess, to either way of developing an athlete, I think.
Yeah, I think if you have success, or someone has success and they're the best in the world at what they do, it's very natural to say, like, no, you need to do it this way, because that's why they did it that way, was they thought that was the best route for them. But I remember reading an article, and it was talking about, like, pretend there was a coin flipping competition, and it starts with 1 million people, and they say, all right, everyone needs to flip a heads, and half the people flip tails, half the people flip heads. So now the field's cut down to 500,000. Do it again, 250. Do it again, 125. Within 50 flips, you're down to like 1 or 2 people, and there's going to be someone that flipped 50 heads in a row, and by the time they flip 30 heads in a row, they're going to write a book of their ritual that they did prior to. They're going to write about their practice that they did, and they're the most successful person in the world at it. So they're going to say, like, yes, this is what I do. This is how you should do it if you want success as well. By the time they hit 50 heads in a row, dude, they're doing stadium tours. They're giving lectures. They're coaching people on how to flip heads. And are they right? Are they wrong? I mean, they're the one flipping heads 50 times in a row. So I think there's going to be the athletes that they were dedicated on one sole purpose since they were 10 months old. And then there's going to be another athlete that they were a 3-sport varsity athlete all the way through college. And they picked their favorite and they ran with it and they became a billionaire. Is one of them right? No, probably not. like, if you're honed in on one skill, yeah, you're going to become the master of that skill. But if you dabble in everything, you're gaining life experience, you're gaining strategy, you're gaining creativity from all the other sports. So I think any person that did it one way and had success at it, they're going to say, yes, this is the way, this is the only way. But fuck that. Like, do what you want, have fun with it. Like, if you love one sport, yeah, do that one sport. Like, just if you love gymnastics, don't feel like you have to go out and play football because, oh, I need to be better, it's going to make me better. No, if you like it, do it. If you like playing multiple sports, do multiple sports, you know? And then if there's a time where it's like, all right, you have to pick, you don't have enough time in the day or something like that, yeah, pick if you want, you know?
They give another interesting example in the book. They talk about scientists, and they talk about how, like, you know, there's this pantheon of the best scientists in the world. And then they say, but they said, I don't remember the number, it's high, it's in the 90 percentile or something like that. 90% of the scientists who won the Nobel Prize through innovation they also had, they weren't just scientists. They had like other areas of interest that were usually in the arts, like in theater or in painting or in dance, and they were kind of split like that. And when I think of people, I think of, you know, Einstein had that, you know. And so that's kind of where I was going. Not necessarily that maybe it makes you more creative to play more.
I've thought about this a lot in the past, and I always think like everyone has that like one guy in their high school that he was the homecoming king, the valedictorian, everyone's favorite person. He had the best girl, all this stuff, and it's like, man, anything he touches just turns to gold. You know, he can't do any wrong. And it's like, all right, is he just lucky, or does he have the personality and the traits that if he does something, he's going to give it his full effort. He's going to do the research on it. He's going to talk to the right people. You know, yeah, there is some of right place, right time, or like natural skill. But I look at that of like, you know, some of these people that, you know, they're athletes and then they're also successful business people. Then they have the great relationship, they have the great friends, all this. And it's like, all right, is it just that anything they touch turns to gold, or do they have the work ethic that how often are you going to work on your physical capabilities and not give a shit about your mental? Or, you know, if you exercising every day, how often are you not going to be eating right every day, or dealing with your finances the same way that you treat everything else? It's like, this is where like the saying, like the way you do anything is the way you do everything. It's very rare that you're completely lazy in one part of your life and not in another. So.
That thing you just did with your face, Josh, someone's going to screen grab that and post that. Sorry.
Good.
Can't stop you if I don't know what's coming.
Or that guy that you're talking about, Matt, is really good at hiding his discrepancies.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
It's like he's like hiding is like the things that he's not good at, you know, like you know, like just maybe that's what he's the best at, hiding the things that he's not good at. Who knows?
Yeah, and I mean, according to social media, everyone is crushing everything. So it depends on who you're looking at and how you're looking at them, you know.
Right.
If I had a dime for every person that I met that was a total asshole, and then like they were the most caring, giving, nurturing people on social media, I'd have
a lot of money.
I'd have a good stack of change.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no kidding.